Hey everyone, my name is Rooster, and welcome back to Mechabellum. Today's video is a tournament finals, the EU weekend tournament finals to be precise, against none other than Apucci. We managed to make it all the way to this final game of the tournament, and well, our opponent is a fellow streamer, but also a very strong pro Mechabellum player who will be competing today, or have competed today, in the Captain's Cup organized by Mag1. So yeah, definitely a tough one and fitting for, you know, such a final game. Now, let's have a look at the starting packs. I decided to go for Sledgehammer Marksman because I was happy to defend here with a wall being on the side, which tends to give me, you know, a little bit of a better read as to where my opponent is going to be. And, well, Sledgehammers are premium. I'm pretty happy with the matchup here. Sledgehammers are good into steel balls, and they're pretty good into Hound as well. All I need to do is make sure that I am facing where my opponent is. I have the Marksman as well. I try to spread them out a little bit. One is on the right side, kind of for safety, in case there would be an attack on the right side. And we go for double crawler, one behind the tower, and one all the way in the back here to kind of try and split wherever my opponent may be. I like staircasing the chaff here in the middle. Kind of put one behind the tower, one more towards the right, further back, and then one all the way in the back. That way you have a nice stream of crawlers. And yeah, if they play asymmetrical, then this crawler will still end up going to whichever side the opponent may be on. Now, Apucci is a quick supply specialist, and he immediately goes for triple crawler here, which is going to be tough for me to beat. I don't have arc lights, and sledgehammers aren't exactly the best at chaff clearing, so we might have some issues. But that's not my biggest problem, as Apucci decides to push on the right side of the board. Now, this is perfectly doable, especially when there's, you know, a small turret behind the wall. This is harder to do when it's the anti-armor cannon, but the small one is quite easy to, well, block like this with the help of the balls. And now I was starting to fare a little bit for this game, because the fact that I guessed wrong is really, really bad for me here. The sledgehammers are not involved in the fight. The sledgehammers and the marksmen are both very slow units, so I have little tower pressure. And as you can see, the entire map kind of devolves in this chaos where the steel balls get the tower, they then collapse. They may even end up going for my second tower as well. And in the meantime, you can see that I didn't get anywhere. So already here, I'm starting to think, how am I going to salvage this? Because in some scenarios, you might be able to kind of abandon the tower and level it a bunch. Not against steel balls, though, as, well, the steel balls are going to be taking down, you know, even the tankiest of turrets pretty quick. So I have to respond. What I could do is buy more sledgehammers, but I don't want to bait out Raiden. I know I have Marksman on the board, but Raiden is so strong at the moment that it's really not something that I want to face. And that's why I'm thinking maybe I should just try and set up for a Wraith in this case. Try and go into the headbutt late and play, you know, a Wraith on the line, which is the most powerful chaff clear unit. My opponent is relying on Hounds for the time being. I should be able to beat those quite easily. And if I, you know, use my resources wisely, if I start selling out of, let's say, my buildings here, I may have enough money with the sell of a sledgehammer next round to, you know, get into Wraith, and maybe he doesn't expect it. I pick up the missile strike, by the way, here to try and soften the right side of the board a bit. Opponent goes for the wasp swarm, which we're not going to be able to defend in this case. Or at least I'm not willing to expend the resources to try and defend it. Because I felt like I had bigger problems on hand. You know, losing to a spell that I'll be able to deal with, you know, when it comes back is not a big problem. I need to think about how I'm going to salvage this long term. So what you can see me do here is just buy double Void Eye. And what I basically was trying to do is set up some sort of just backline, some sort of backup for the Wraith, so that at least there would be some units here. I decided to go for Void Eye because it's pretty good into Hound and Ball. I think maybe I should have just put down some crawlers over there. Or, you know, try and buy a Steel Ball plus a crawler. But Void Eyes it is. This is a bit telegraphing, so my opponent should have an inkling of what's happening here, right? Like you suddenly see 2 units pop up relatively close to the line. You've got to start wondering about the Wraith being purchased. We lose the second round as well, and I mean, that's not a lot of hit points to work with, by the way, on round 3. Round 3, though, a great item shows up. Absorption module for my Wraith that I wanted. Probably one of the best items I could have hoped for, aside from something like improved firepower control or heavy armor. But that will definitely help me out a ton. And as you can see, we sell a sledgehammer, which leaves us with 800 resources, which is enough to not just buy a level 1 Wraith, but I can buy it at level 2. Now, what I could have done as well is buy, I believe, 2 Wraith plus a Crawler. But I really wanted to get the extra level to make use of the absorption module that I had. Level 2 also will, you know, significantly increase DPS and tankiness, and should allow us to get through the steel balls that much quicker. So now we buy a Crawler to kind of try and screen. Opponent does kind of predict that we would go Wraith and purchase a Farseer ahead of time. And goes for the anti-interference module here on the steel balls. Crawler on the shallow flank as well, but that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And let's see how this goes. I decided to missile the left side here because I was expecting him to put down a Crawler to try and distract my Void Eyes. Happy that I did, you know, predict that, avoiding us from losing immediately. Now, it does look like, sadly, we don't have enough on the board as of yet to really properly stall those steel balls, and it means that my Wraith is struggling to kill everything. If it were able to shoot consistently here, it likely would just tank the Farseer indefinitely because of that absorption module. But as you can see, the targeting is a little bit wonky, and yeah, my Wraith is not the smartest, as he just decides to chase after the steel balls whilst he gets taken down by the Farseer. So another round here that doesn't go our way. We're already down to 2.1. But I get my power spike. Typhoon has been, or is now available to us. And we also have a unit drop. And I have to say, this is a godlike unit drop for me. Double Wasp here is the best thing that I could have gotten by a landslide. And the reason for this is, Wasps are kind of hard to deal with. There are not many units in the game that can easily take them down and quickly take them down, and because of that they tend to be, you know, a really good shield for something like Wraith, which typically a marksman, a Farseer, or a Phoenix would be used for. Now, Farseer can take down Wasps, but it doesn't do so very quickly, and that's the key aspect here, right? You need to take down Wasps quickly because you need to take down Wraith quickly. This unit gets out of control very, very fast if you, well, if you let it. And so, yeah, very happy about this. We cover the flank. We also make sure to kind of pair up a second Wraith here with a bundle of Wasps. And then we decide to use our Typhoon on this flank to distract the Farseer for a little bit. And again, buy more time for our Wraith. The Wraith does have range now, so it should be able to DPS a bit more easily as well. We missile the steel ball there, which was greedily positioned on the line. That not only slows it down, but it also chunks them. And it should make it a lot easier here for us to get through all of this. Apucci, in the meantime, decided to go for the Stormcallers, which I was a bit surprised about. But again, I don't think he had anything like particularly amazing in the unit drop there. He can't go Wasp because of, well, the Wraith that I have. So it was a tough spot for sure. Perhaps a Cell there would have been better, but ends up using those Storms. But as you can see, left side stalls for a good amount of time. And we also leveled this tower, so I'm really not afraid about the left side. And now I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident in my chances of turning this. You have to take down that turret, but it looks like we'll be fine. I mean, absorption module is such a disgusting item on a leveled Wraith. And we finally managed to start chipping away at the hit points. Round number 5, Electromagnetic Blast shows up. I was a little bit afraid of this because turning off the text on my Wraith is, you know, could be a big problem for me. So, you know, I was a little bit afraid that Apucci might try and pick this. I could go for the nano repair kit here, but honestly, I felt like there was no point in trying to put a nano on a Wraith. I feel like typically, especially on the lower level Wraith, if it gets locked by a high level Farseer, it will simply die. So instead, I wanted to have as much money available as possible. Apucci here, though, goes for the Vulcan instead of going for the EMP, and I was not expecting this, to be honest. I didn't even really register the fact that this was available. It's one of those call-ins that I just fully miss, especially when it shows up on round 5. And yeah, you can see that I'm just fully investing into frontline here, right? We didn't have that much on the ground for now, and well, I'm trying to make up for it by purchasing 3 level 2 steel balls, which is kind of the classic comp with Wraith. Fast units, ground-based units, they're tanky, they've got low range, so they stay in front of the steel balls pretty easily, and on top of that, they, you know, can snowball and take down the biggest of targets, which is the one weakness of Wraith. It definitely can DPS, but there are targets that it will struggle with, as it is at heart a chaff tier unit. Now, sadly, my steel ball does get missiled, and the burst Farseer, which is the tech that has been picked up here, gets almost kills the pack of steel balls instantly. But you can see that the burst here is struggling quite a bit against the wasps, and that's why I'm saying it was such a good drop for me. It's really, really limiting the options for Apucci. Now, sadly, we get debuffed, but as you can see, Alone was already taken, and temp range and temp speed. So, despite us potentially losing this, I wasn't feeling too bad about it. We're not going to take that much damage. We may even be able to take down this Wraith. Although I say that, it just completely destroys my Wraith. And yeah, that is what Burst AA is capable of when it lands. So, you know, we take 600 damage here, which is, again, scary, but not the end of the world. And that was Alone, plus temp range, plus temp speed, and a call-in. So, you know, maybe we now can stabilize. Round number 6, nothing of interest here, really. I'm not looking to go Sabertooth, as it's probably just going to die to the burst. Although thinking about it now, I probably could have. It still is relatively tanky, and it does like kill the Farseers very quickly. But instead I go for the Fire Badgers, and I'm just kind of trying to look to sell. One of them I can use here on the flank to create even more stall. The other one I can simply sell for cash and start getting into Floating Artillery Array, which would be the second tech here that I would really need on Wraith for them to pop off. A third Wraith would be nice, a Crawler here to block the initial Farseer lock on. And I mean, that would kind of be it. As you can see, we do sell that Fire Badger. Apucci also goes for the Fire Badgers. We go for a Crawler up front to block a missile and, again, distract the Farseer. And we pick up the Floating Artillery Array. Left side, as you will see, is still relatively exposed, so I do level this tower again, as I was very afraid that a tower take could ruin my day. We put a missile in the back as well, because the Wasp is back off cooldown. Over here, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, and on the right side, we do have our own Wasps kind of screening. And yeah, look at this, right? Double missile by Apucci, trying to instantly one-shot those steel balls, but won't be able to do so, as we do have that Crawler there to protect. Wraith shows up on the other side. Both of us are now loaning temp range. Very important for my Wraith. And yeah, I mean, he goes Wraith because, well, it's really one of the only things in the game that can both handle Wasp and potential mechanical division from the steel balls. So it makes sense, but the question is, you know, is it too late? For now, we seem to be doing very well. My Wraith are very far ahead of his. I have double tech. I have multiple levels. Even a level 3 Wraith potentially next round. And we do manage to get another round win. And this is when round 7, we see additional deployment slot and Orbital Bombardment as the 2 cards that stick out. Orbital Bombardment I was pretty sure Apucci would pick, because on the right side of the board it can take down my Wasps, which is part of what's causing him so much trouble. For me, though, I really wasn't looking to use it. Most of his important units don't die to it, and my chaff clear is so good with the Wraith, I don't feel like I need backup from the Orbital. So instead I decided to pick up the additional deployment slot, and I want to try and have a go at this left side tower. All of the units are in this top left square, which means that they are pullable with a crawler like this, and that will, you know, make sure that nothing moves forward to stall this type of attack. It also, at the same time, you know, covers me somewhat against the Orbital by placing some resources and units outside of where I'm expecting the spell to land. Sometimes you can do this by beaconing, right? Taking, for instance, this pack or this pack and moving it to the left. But you can also do something like this. You've got a crawler here up front, a steel ball right behind, and a level 2 Wraith as well to basically be covered against anything that may show up. And yeah, temp speed important now as well. And as you can see, that pull is working very, very well indeed. Orbital, honestly, not even doing that much, it seems. My Wasps mostly managed to make it through unscathed. And the only thing that they're getting targeted by right now is the opponent Wraith. Top right, that Typhoon, you can see, is still doing a great job of stalling the Farseer, buying even more time. Left side is successful. And that is another fantastic round. Very happy about how that went. Happy that we saw that this tower was exposed. The pull worked tremendously. And now round number 8, we have more unit reinforcements showing up. Nothing here really of value aside from that Sandworm. As I'm looking at this board and I'm saying to myself, well, the Steel Ball really is the only thing that has the damage to kill this Sandworm. As long as we avoid it, it should cause a ton of trouble. So now, well, we just pick up that Sandworm, we throw it on the line to try and instantly attack the Fire Badger and hopefully attack the Scorpion as well. We go for more Wasps on the left because I could notice that my opponent didn't have the best anti-Wasp, especially on the left side. And yeah, we go for a Missile Interceptor, trying to preempt this type of missile against both my Steel Balls and my Crawlers. And we go for a missile ourselves in case some chaff would be purchased by a Poochie. Level picked up as well on the Wraith. There is a Sandworm on our flank here. We're just going to have to hope that we can get through this quicker than that this worm can spawn in and take my tower. More chaff being picked up. Temp range, temp speed has to be clicked. And again, you can see some missile interceptors here and there where I have the money to deal with potential missiles. Couple ones show up here and there. The second one over here, I do put one of the crawlers on the right side of the ball because I thought maybe he would try and instantly lock onto my steel balls with a Scorpion. But as you can see here, it's just a Scorpion with not much backup. And this crawler does get missiled. We also have a missile strike back off cooldown, which manages to kill a pack of crawlers and hounds. And at that point, the left side is once again completely open. The Wasps are getting in. The Steel Balls should shortly be able to get that tower. The Worm is doing an amazing job. And somehow, a Poochie Sandworm, uninterested by my tower, decides to just go after, I think, a crawler or something. Farseer is still doing a pretty good job. It did manage to take down a Wraith there, but will eventually get chomped by the Sandworm. And, I mean, we'll have to do the tally here, but 1357 hit points, 3 Wraith alive, a Sandworm, and a bunch of Wasps. And that will do it. So, we managed to make the comeback happen here with a bit of a rough early game. Sadly, we guessed wrong on where the opponent would be, and at that point, I had to pivot into something else, which will often end up being Wraith Headbutt if I'm up against this type of Steel Ball Hound opener. We got fortunate enough that the game gave us the correct cards, so Absorption Module early was huge. That Wasp drop, I think, saved the game for us. That was such a good unit drop. And yeah, after that, I mean, we just use the Steel Balls, we pressure the towers, and make, well, the win happen. So thankfully, we were able to pick up a trophy, which I was very happy about. It was a good game. And yeah, if you like this, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you thought of this game. Have you played a bunch of Wraith lately, or have you been on the receiving end of it? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date on my latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.